When we are talking about locomotion in human beings, we discuss about muscles. We have already discussed about it. Now, the next vital component of the physiological process of locomotion happens to be the human skeletal system. That is, we are going to talk about our bones and cartilage. And when we talk about skeletal system, it plays a crucial role in bringing about any sort of movement. So, how can we let it go? It has important functions. So, we are going to see what this human skeleton is made up of. Then we are going to see what are the functions that it serves and what are the broadest classifications in which we can study the human skeleton. So, basically in this lesson we are going to get well versed with the ethos of the human skeletal system, and we are going to get a fair introduction about this system that is important for bringing about the locomotion along with the agency of muscles. Now, human skeletal system is the skeletal system. If we study, it is the endoskeleton which is formed of two components, that is bone and cartilage. Now, it is endoskeleton, that is we cannot see the bones lying outside. The skeletal part, that is there is a skeletal connective tissue that is being involved, that won't be seen outside, as in the case of a chitinous exoskeleton. In the case of cockroach we saw, the endoskeleton would be there in cases of humans. And what is this endoskeleton made up of? It is made up of two types of skeletal connective tissue itself, which we have studied in the connective tissue. The first one is the rigid connective tissue, rigid and hard connective tissue of bone that is present in our body. You know that bones are hard. And the other one is the various types of cartilages which are present in the skeletal system. And cartilage is a firm and elastic connective tissue. Now, you see, bone is hard and cartilage is firm but elastic, little bit elastic. That means it is pliable. As you can touch on your nose, as you can feel the ear pinna, they are made up of cartilage, and you can feel the difference between the bone that you feel over here and the cartilage that is present over here. Those of you who consume non-vegetarian food, they must have seen the cartilage that is present at the end of the bones. That is important for the formation of joints. So, we have bone as the hard connective tissue, we have cartilage as the firm elastic skeletal connective tissue. Bones, you know, they are made up of osteocytes. There are certain, the matrix happens to be very hard. The matrix that is made up of the bone, which is made up of the matrix, that matrix happen to be of calcium salts. So, the matrix is very, very hard, due to which the bones, they get hard structure and hard appearance. These calcium salts are forming the matrix, and inside the matrix there are irregular spaces, numerous irregular spaces. We have studied about it. I am just trying to refresh your knowledge. There are lacunae which are present, and inside those lacunae we have osteocytes which are present. Okay. And apart from that, the ground substance is made up of complex substance, ground material is made up of complex substance known as ossin. In the case of cartilage, the lacunae are present. Instead of osteocytes, you are going to find chondrocytes, and the ground substance would be little bit softer because it is made up of chondrin, that is a different type of protein. So, this is all about a brief introduction to, not introduction, brief recall of what bone and cartilage are. Now, what are the functions and the purposes that this human skeletal system serves? First and foremost, because we are studying it under the heading of locomotion, so they are important for bringing about movement of the human body. So, the first function is movement, and locomotion is brought about by the skeletal system. I hope you can read it. Movement and locomotion that is brought about by the skeletal system along with the muscular system can be made out from a little bit of your knowledge regarding livers and fulcrums that are present. We need some hard base sort of substance, that is the bone. The bone would perform the function of movement and locomotion of the organism. The second and the important function of the skeletal system apart from this is that it is reservoir of certain minerals. Which minerals? Calcium and phosphorus. Inside our body there is a proper homeostatic mechanism that regulates the calcium levels, and those calcium ions, they get deposited on the bone when they are more in blood stream, and if they are lesser they would be taken up from the calcium. Also bone's ground material, that is ground substance matrix, is made up of phosphorus, and phosphorus is very much important. We have studied that phosphorus is a macronutrient that our body requires. So it is the reservoir of many important elements like the calcium and phosphate. Then there is another function that is performed by, second one was reservoir, and the third one I would use this, reservoir of minerals, okay, and the third function, the important function, is hematopoiesis. Now what is hematopoiesis? Hematopoiesis is the formation of blood. Now you know that there is bone marrow which is present in the long bones. That bone marrow is responsible for formation of blood which takes place inside the bone only. So the skeletal system is very important for hematopoiesis as well, because it houses the bone marrow where the blood formation takes place, and you know how important blood is for our body. So we have three major functions that the skeletal system performs. You must be knowing that the hematopoiesis takes place in long bones of our body, and at the same time lot of it takes place in the vertebral column. That's why we often go for bone marrow transplant, and that takes place in the vertebral column. Instead of replacing the bone marrow from the long bones, we prefer doing it in the vertebral column, because at that site hematopoiesis takes place. Now another function that cannot be missed, I was about to miss it but we cannot miss it, that it provides protection to the visceral organs. Another important function. Now you know most of the visceral organs are housed in our rib cage. So the visceral organs are protected by the skeletal system which is present in our body. Now the next thing that we need to get introduced to in this lesson is the skeletal system division. If we have to study it in two parts for our ease, we have divided the skeletal system into two parts. The first part is axial skeleton and the second one is appendicular skeleton. Now as I have written axial, something must be coming to your mind from your knowledge of English words. Otherwise, those who have studied it in earlier classes, they might be recalling what they have studied. Axial skeleton lies along the longitudinal axis. As many as 80 bones are present in it. Okay? And in the appendicular skeleton, we have 126 bones. Now, certain authors consider this as 120 bones and certain consider it as 126. You have to remember that 120 are limb bones and 6 are those of girdles, which sum up to 126, and in total you know very well that the human body has 206 bones. So this is what we are going to study in detail. The axial skeleton that lies along the longitudinal axis will have 80 bones. The axial skeleton comprises of, now again I am just going to use a line diagram, not line diagram properly. This is something stick pictures drawings that we use to make mathematic drawings. This part, this entire part which lies along the longitudinal axis is known as the axial skeleton. It comprises of the skull, this could be skull. It comprises of the vertebral column where we talked about hematopoiesis, and yes, it talks about the skull, it talks about the vertebral column, it talks about a bone that is known as sternum, and it talks about the ribs which are present over here. Alright, so these are the parts of the axial skeleton. Coming to the appendicular skeleton, just have a look on your limbs, look at your limbs which is your arms, both arms and legs. You have 120 bones in both the arms and both the legs. Each arm and each leg is having 30 bones individually, like 1, 2, 3 bones over here and the remaining 27 in the hand. and same is in this case. While in the case of legs, there are 4 bones which are present across the length of legs, the one thigh bone, then there are 2 other bones which are present in the calf, and then there are as much as 26 bones which are present in our feet. So each limb is having 30 bones, and because we are having 4 limbs, they sum up to 120, and there are 6 girdles. We have girdle bones, not girdles, they are girdle bones to be very specific. The girdle bones, there are 2 girdles, one is pectoral girdle and other one is pelvic girdle. We do discuss these in detail when we study the structures, not the structures, the bones of appendicular skeleton and axial skeleton differently and individually. For now, what we have to confine ourselves is that the axial skeleton has 80 bones and the appendicular skeleton has 126 bones, which sum to 206 bones which are present in our skeletal system. Now, these points that you have learned now, they are going to play an important role when you start learning in depth about the human skeletal system. For your knowledge, for your personal benefits, you can learn each and every bone's name, but our syllabus confines us to understanding what is the axial and appendicular skeleton. And the last point that we discuss in this human skeletal system is about joints. Now, what are joints? Joints are the articulations where 2 bones join, and they are responsible for bringing about the movements, and these joints are movable, slightly movable, immovable. We are going to study that as a different topic. So, this was all about a brief introduction, brief yet not that brief, because we have got almost a complete idea of what we are going to study to the human skeleton. I hope you will like this topic when we study it in detail.